Hey everybody, I was going to say another channel I have. It is Massage Me Tony. I'm Tony. I'm a licensed massage therapist, LMT. I received my licensure in August of 2023, so it hasn't been a year yet. It's been a little over 6 months, but I'm here to talk about the pros and the cons of massage therapy as a career field. This is not all inclusive. This is not everything, you know what I'm saying? But this is just like what I was thinking of when I was writing this. So we're gonna start with like the pros and then end with the cons, which I know people don't want. Sometimes they try to flip it to like end on a brighter note, but I'm gonna just start with the pros and end with the cons. Pros. So it's an in-demand field. I wrote it down on this little napkin, so I'm going through it. It's an in-demand field. The populations are shifting. We're having more older people. We're having people with more issues like medical issues, musculoskeletal like kind of issues, things like that. Even though depending on the state, right? Your scope of practice may fluctuate. It's still an in-demand industry. It's an in-demand job, and I do believe with the rate that we're going, that it's going to be an increasingly popular field for people to get into. So yeah, there's that. Two, the pay per hour is better. So depending on your state, the minimum, you're not going to be earning minimum wage with a massage job. You're going to be earning a little bit above that, maybe like 100% more, 200% more, well, 200% more than the minimum wage for the most part, if not more. And that means that you can maybe put in fewer hours per like week, right? So massage isn't a job where you're going to work a straight 40 hours a week, 9 to 5. That's one of the benefits of it. For that higher pay, you like work less hours. So you're going to do your sessions per week. You can do a Monday through Friday, you can do it 1 day a week, you can do it 2 days a week, it doesn't matter, but your pay per hour is going to work out a little bit better. Plus you get tips, plus you get percentages of add-ons if you work for certain places or you have that written into your business, you will get that money. So let's say the minimum wage here is like 15 something, 15.50, 15.75, something like that, roughly $16. As a massage therapist, you're definitely going to be making at least double that, plus tips, plus, like I said, whatever commissions you earn. And so you'll have a little bit of an elevated like pay in terms of that for fewer hours of work. So there's that. 3, you can start a business once you get out of massage school. So you don't have to worry about, I guess, like long gaps in between employment because you're looking for a job. Like you can look for a massage job, but if you're up for it, you can just go ahead and start working. Like you can do mobile massage, you can try to start your own practice, you can find like an office where they'll let you like rent and do stuff, or they'll give you clients, something like that. Like I feel like because massage is one of those industries where it's pretty popular, and you pretty much can have a massage therapist anywhere in the world, it shouldn't be too hard to find a job unless you're in an environment where like the services aren't really needed. But I feel like massage therapy is like everywhere. So that I had 3, which is kind of the same thing. You can start your own business. So if you start your own business, this works for you even more as far as pay because you can make a higher percentage of whatever service. So if you work for somewhere and so each service is $100 and they're giving you 30% of that, you're making $30 per hour service, right? If you make your own business, you can bump that pay up to maybe like $45 or $50 an hour, and then you still get tips, you still get commissions, you still get whatever, depending on if you structure your business in that way. So it's like an incentive. You're kind of more incentivized to work for yourself, I think, sometimes in massage therapy, because you're coming out of school with like a skill. Like, you're not necessarily needing higher education to do like the most basic of massage, right? If you want to get into like certain modalities and stuff, yes, you need a cert. But coming right out of school, you can start your own thing and you'll be able to make money right away. There isn't going to be any additional training that you really have to go through, unless it's like the corporate training from the franchise or the company training from the studio or something like that. But the skills that you get in school, or like the skills that you actually need in like in the field, you know, it's just whether or not you want to advance yourself post school. And then another pro is that to get this licensure, the road to that is pretty short in comparison. So in comparison to an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, anything like that, it's way shorter. It's usually like a year, if that, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter than that, but within a year you can do that. And so if you're right out of high school and you feel like this is a field for you, you can definitely do it. If you are changing careers, you can definitely do it, because the school structure usually also accommodate daytime students, nighttime students, and so you can find some program for you, right? If you're a professional looking to transition, the transition won't be 4 years, right? It'll be like however long that program is, plus maybe like a few months. So it's good. You can niche down. That's another skill. So we're on like number 5 or 4 or something like that. You can niche down, meaning that you can use the baseline skills, yes, but then you can also decide that you want to work with a certain population or a certain issue, right? So usually when you book a massage therapist, unless they work for a franchise where they want you to do everything, which, okay, you are able to niche down. So some people, they're really good with deep tissue, but they are interested in like jaw issues of the neck and jaw and all of that, right? Some people, they're interested in like pelvic issues. Some people are interested in like, you know, alignment issues in general. Some people are interested in lower body stabilization, stuff like that. Like it can start to lean into like different things. Some people are relaxation oriented. That's what they do. So you can niche down. You don't have to do what everybody is doing, but you should be equipped with the skills of you that everyone, your peers, have been equipped with, right? So your Swedish, your deep tissue, stuff like that. Definitely your Swedish, and you can go like from there. It's not too much, right? So the last pro that I have is that you will be learning forever, and that you're always going to have like something new that you could learn. So you could learn something new as in a totally new modality. You can learn something new as in just like deepening within your modality. You can learn new things in terms of tools. You can learn new things in terms of different graphics. You will be learning forever. And so if you like to learn and you want to learn forever, there you go, because you can take a whole bunch of courses in different modalities at any point in your career. If you want to switch modalities, you just need to go back to school for like usually a 3-day class or a few months, and you are certified in something new. And so over the course of your career, you can have like a really interesting kind of trajectory that isn't necessarily going to keep you stuck, right? So some people like myself, I get bored after a while. So if I decide I want to start something new, I will, and I can kind of mitigate the boredom like that. So those are a lot of the the pros that I have. And also another pro is that you can have a long, fulfilling career in just doing massage. It'll take some work, but you can be just a massage therapist, or you can be a part-time. That's another benefit. You can be part-time, only do it 2 days a week. You can be full-time, be open every day a week. It's just up to you, whatever you want. So those are the pros. Let's go to the cons. The first, there's going to be a little bit more cons than pros, and I forgot to add this. If you are an older student, I would proceed with caution in terms of trying to go for it full force. Massage requires you to be a little bit above the average when it comes to like physical performance. And so if you are older and you suffer from a lot of injuries, or if you just suffer from injuries in general, but as you get older you tend to suffer from a lot more injuries, like things with your hip, things with your arms, arthritis, stuff like that, because usually if you're an older student transitioning into massage, you worked like a desk job, or you worked like a job where you on your feet a lot, like a nurse or something like that, and so you have to adjust to that. But you've already put so much time into this other career field that your body may be worse for wear, and so there will be some adjusting to that. What goes along with that, not just older students like I said, but if you are transitioning careers and you have a lot of chronic issues already, massage may not be the career for you because it may make it worse. Even with body mechanics, you're using your hands, you're looking, you're gliding along, you're having to bend, you're having to lift people's legs up, you're having to manipulate their body, and so that can get very tiring, right? Very tiring. So there's that. Another thing to note, second thing, or maybe third, depending on how we're looking at it, is that massage can be a very short-lived career if you injure yourself. So a lot of people, they work in massage therapy and they may injure themselves with bad body mechanics, particularly like their back, their fingers, things like that, their neck, especially your back, because a lot of people kind of move from the waist, and that's not really how you're supposed to do it in massage. You're kind of use your lower body to kind of like push you and propel and time to glide and stuff like that, lunging, just leveraging like that. So you may end up with an injury and you may have a short-lived career, or the other thing is massage can be a very short-lived career if you weren't looking to be doing that physical labor forever, because during your massage session, yes, you can sit down. I sit down like practically every session, but at some point you're probably gonna have to get up and work on somebody. And so if you're working on people and you're having to lift their leg up to move, to drape, to do stuff, that gets tiring. And if it's a 60-minute, 90-minute, 120-minute session and you have 2 or 3 of those a day, and you're working 4 days a week, you're gonna wear out pretty quickly. And so I would definitely consider the physical labor that you're gonna have to do in a massage, right? It's not a desk job. It's a very physically active job, and you have to have some physical fitness. I don't have too much physical fitness, but I can lift up someone's leg. I can work with them, right? So there's that. And I'm proud of myself for being able to, because I never thought I would be able to. The money won't be stable. So this is like number 4. Money won't be stable, and the reason is that you are getting a higher amount per hour, but you don't have 40 hours total of work that you're doing, right? You're not doing 40 hours of massages, right? 41-hour massages or 20 90-minute massages per week. You probably are doing maybe 3 or 4 a day. If you're at a franchise, hopefully they're not putting you 5, 6, 7 a day, but they could. And so the money is going to fluctuate, right? If you have your own business, or even if you work for someone, you may get booked for 4 appointments that day and 2 show up, right? And you, depending on the policy, may or may not get paid for that loss. So like again, if you have 15 on the week and by the end of the week you only did 10 of them, you know, you're getting paid for 10. You may or may not get paid for the other 5 depending on the policy. And so your week to week is going to look very different. If you like variety, that's cool. But if you like stability and you can't deal with looking at a calendar that went from, you know, 15 massages for the week to 8, then this may not be for you, because you may start to get very worried and panicky and stuff like that. So there's that. This can be a very seasonal job. If it's inclement weather, heavy rains, heavy snow, this is not one of those jobs where people are willing to come out their house to go get a massage, right? And you may not, if you're a mobile massage, willing to drive to them. So you got to consider that. So another con was, depending on who you work for, or if you work for yourself, the cut that you're going to get, pay cut, is going to be different, right? So massage is not an industry standardized kind of thing, right? Even our educational per state is not the same in terms of the hours that we need to complete. That's another con. Depending on what state you go to, some states are better than others. But going back to this, your cut may be very different. If you change jobs, your cut may be very different. You may go from a job that pays you $30 an hour to a job that pays you $25 an hour, and then you might go to another job that pays you $75 an hour, right? Very different. You're still doing massage, you're still interacting with clients, you may have different protocols and stuff like that. The tip system may be different, the commission system may be different, but you could literally go to 3 jobs and have 3 different varying degrees of pay. And so there's a wide variety within in massage, right? Usually things will stay around the same, right? The prices, especially on the customer side, I feel like they stay in a certain range, but the amount that you get will vary. And even if you decide to work for yourself, you may want to take pay raises or pay cuts depending on how it's going. So like again, if you don't like that fluctuation every week, every month, it may not be for you. Another con is that if you're not interested in touching people, this is definitely not for you, because that's what you do, right? You touch people, you interact with people in that way. This is not a job that you can get out of like touching people, interacting. It's not necessarily the highest customer service job where you're like face to face, always talking and answering a bunch of questions, but you still will have to interact with people. You'll still have to physically touch them. Even if you have gloves, you're still going to have to work on their body, right? So you're dealing with people who may have certain skin conditions. You're dealing with people who may or may not smell. You're dealing with people who may or may not disclose certain things that you might want to know about, like massaging your feet. If you have a fungal infection, you know, you would think you would disclose that, but some people won't, and you do take that risk. So there's that. So if you don't want to touch people, as far as my experience, I'm going to cut in and say I haven't had a bad experience as far as a lot of issues with people like smelling or anything like that. So I'm cool with it, but if you're not interested in touching people, this isn't going to be for you. Number like 5 or 6, I don't know where we are. The emotional labor that you have to do will vary depending on, I think, modality, and depending on how high or low your boundaries are. If you have very low boundaries with people, this will be an emotionally taxing field for you, because you interact with people on a daily basis or for a long period of time. You probably work on people longer than like a lot of customer service people interact with people. So what I mean by that is, if you work in retail as a fashion, like, you know, a fashion retail person at like H&M, you interact perhaps with a lot of people, but you don't necessarily have to spend 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, 92 hours with them at a time. As a massage therapist, you do. And so you may only have 4 clients that day, but if they're all emotionally taxing, right? They all are going through something. They talk during the session. you're doing like other modalities, like if you put, I do Reiki and massage, right? If I'm doing that and it gets heavy, I am potentially taking that on. And if you don't keep yourself in check and if you don't keep your boundaries in check, you will end up burnt out and emotionally spent, emotionally perhaps resentful. And you may wonder if this is the career for you because you feel like so much is piled on top of the physical labor that you have done. The emotional labor may be a little bit too much. It may push you over the edge. So I would be careful with that and make sure you have emotional boundaries. Okay, so I have like 3 more. This is not essential work. So the pandemic would have showed us that this is not essential. This is not an essential job. This is a disposable income job, and we should treat it as such. Even if people have like medical conditions and they really rely on us, on the whole, it's a disposable income field. And so you have to kind of be, I'm going to say, grateful that people are even willing to use disposable income towards a massage, because even though we think that we are doing great work, people, when times get tough, they may not come to you, right? Like, you're not their first priority in terms of like a bill that I have to cover or something where the money is going to go out. You may be a 5th tier choice in terms of priorities, and you have to be okay with working in an industry that if we shut down again due to anything and we're not deemed essential health staff, you may not be working for months, if not years, depending on how bad it turns out, right? Luckily, the pandemic, I think, within like 8 or 9 months, we were kind of back up and running. But for people who were working in the field at that time, 8 or 9 months out of work, trying to figure out what you're going to do, that could be a disaster for your business. That could be a disaster for just anyone in general. So you have to consider that. School or certs, or school inserts. So this is not a 3-month career like schooling. It's usually like at least 9 months, maybe 6 months is pushing it. I know aesthetics you can do like 4 to 6 months or whatever. But for massage, it is probably close to a year that you'll be doing it. So if you're looking for a really quick kind of like career, it's quicker than like a 4-year degree or an associate's, but it's definitely not like you're gonna start in April and then be done in May, right? So there's that. As far as like the certs and post, you're always going to have to recertify. So you're always going to be paying out money every few years. You're always going to be paying money to like actually do the application, to actually submit the application. There's like a fee to test, to get your certification. There's a fee. For the state that I'm in, I had to take my NBLEX, which is the national kind of exam, and then a state jurisprudence. And so each of those costs money, right? Each of them was like close to $300 a piece. There's that. Then I have to renew, even though it's supposed to be like every 2 years. I'm not 2 years in, but I'm a first time renewal. And so within a year, I have to like renew my license. So there's money for that. There's money for the courses. If you want to change careers, you can. It's not as hard as other fields, but you still will have to have certs. Other things, especially if you're going into fields like prenatal, craniosacral, reflexology, stuff like that, like those things require certifications, and they require like hands-on experience, watch hours. They require more things, right? Prenatal, you have to have a cert for that. Like, you can't just be touching someone who's pregnant. Like, there are things you need to know. The first thing is you shouldn't be performing massage in the first trimester. That's the basic thing you'll learn in massage school, but you do need certification for that. Craniosacral has its own system of how you're supposed to take classes, and it sits. You have to be a massage like therapist, I think, but it has its own like hierarchy of where you're supposed to go and how you're supposed to take classes. So there's that. And then lastly, Massage can be a very solitary profession. And what I mean by that is massage is can be practiced alone, so you can have your own business, but that also means like you are only interacting with clients. You don't really have like co-workers or anything like that. Like you like interact just with the client, and you may be, even if you work in a studio, I've had days where like I'm the only one in the studio, right? Like there is no one I can talk to and chat with for the day. Like that's it. Depending on your hours, this is the second place I've worked at in massage, but the first one, because of the hours, I was an early morning person, so usually I was the first person there, and the only person I could talk to was the front desk. So it can get lonely as a massage therapist, especially if you don't work in a cohort, nobody's schedules match up, your own business, and this isn't, like I said, it's not 40 hours a week, so it's not like you're interacting with a whole bunch of people, and you could have whole days where you don't have anybody. So you really have to have like a life outside of massage, because massage can get pretty solitary pretty fast. You work alone. You can do like couples massages and stuff like that, but for the most part, a lot of your sessions will probably be just you and the client. And depending on, like I said, what your setup is, you may work for yourself. So it's that. Mobile massage, you're in your car a lot, so you don't really have any coworkers, right? So these are some of the things to consider, the pros and the cons of being a massage therapist or entering the field. Considering the field, I definitely would go through and consider what you want to do as a massage therapist, because it is a field that once you get into, you can definitely get out of, but the money that you pay, even if it's like it's not as much as student loan debt for a lot of situations, but it could be like as much as that depending on the program. I would consider before you spend the money, right? Because you may have to spend, that's another con, you may have to spend money out of pocket to pursue massage therapy, especially if your school doesn't accept any federal funding. They don't accept like Pell Grants, they don't accept none of that. You have to pay out of pocket. I know a lot of aesthetic schools are like that as well. You have to pay out of pocket, do a payment plan. And so I would really, really, really consider whether or not you want to do this. So, long video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. All right. If you are a massage therapist, what are some pros for you? What are some cons for you? If you are going to school, what are some cons that you're seeing? What are some pros that you're seeing? If you're considering it, did you resonate with some of the pros? Did you resonate with some of the cons? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you. Bye.